When we see the headlines today, Iran and Israel are presented as these archenemies. It seems like it's always been that way. But what if I told you that not too long ago they were actually close friends? We're about to dive into a forgotten piece of history, a story so wild it'll make you rethink everything you thought you knew.
And that's the big question, isn't it? How does a relationship like that just flip on its head? The answer takes us back to a time before all the rivalry, an era of partnership that's been almost completely erased from our collective memory.
So let's start there, with this forgotten friendship. Before 1979, Iran and Israel weren't just on speaking terms, they were deep strategic partners. And this whole alliance was built on something super practical, not on some grand ideology.
It is really hard to wrap your head around now, but yeah, before the revolution, Iran under the Shah was one of Israel's tightest allies in the region. Their governments were working together hand in glove, trying to navigate the super complex chessboard of Middle Eastern politics.
So why? What brought these two together? Well, it all boils down to this concept called realpolitik. Basically, their bond had nothing to do with shared religion or values. It was all about practical, shared interests. Both of them were worried about the rise of pan-Arab nationalism, this movement to unite Arab countries, and they saw each other as the perfect counterbalance. For them, it was a classic case of the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
And this wasn't just a handshake deal. This partnership ran deep. Iran was pumping essential oil to Israel, which was a huge deal for their energy security. And in return, Israeli experts were on the ground in Iran, sharing cutting-edge tech to modernize their farms and infrastructure. They were even sharing top-level military intelligence. Get this, Israel's Mossad actually helped Iran set up its own intelligence agency, the Savak. I mean, this was a real full-blown alliance.
And then, it all came crashing down. The year was 1979. The Iranian Islamic Revolution wasn't just a change of leadership. It was an ideological earthquake that sent shockwaves across the entire region and completely redrew the map.
You see, this revolution was a total transformation of Iran's very identity. The old logic of practical politics, of realpolitik, got thrown out the window. It was replaced by a brand new, religiously driven worldview. And with a new worldview comes a new list of friends and a new list of enemies.
Just look at how fast it all happened. For decades, you have this strong, growing partnership. Then, bang, 1979 hits, and it's like everything that came before was just erased. A completely new hostile era began almost overnight.
Well, a new ideology needs a new enemy to rally against. And for the revolutionary government taking power in Iran, the choice was pretty clear. Their former partner was about to become their #1 adversary.
Now, this new hostility wasn't about some border dispute or land grab. No, this was a deep ideological rejection. The new Islamic Republic flat out declared Israel an illegitimate state and made supporting the Palestinian cause a central pillar of its entire foreign policy.
And they didn't waste any time putting their money where their mouth was. This new stance immediately translated into action. Iran cut all ties and started to actively work against Israel. This meant funding and arming militant groups who shared their goal, like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Palestine. This move completely changed the power dynamics of the whole region.
The whole transformation is just staggering. Let's put it side by side so you can really see just how total this 180-degree turn actually was.
Look at this. Every single part of their old partnership was replaced by its exact opposite. A strategic alliance became deep-seated hostility. Economic and military deals were replaced by support for militant groups. Shared interests became an all-out ideological confrontation. It's truly one of the most dramatic political reversals in modern history.
But this whole story isn't just about politics and grand strategy. This massive shift has had a very real and often heartbreaking impact on the lives of ordinary people.
And one of the most powerful places you can see this human cost is, believe it or not, in the world of sports. For an Iranian athlete, this conflict can force them to sacrifice a lifetime of dedication in a single moment.
Okay, just imagine this for a second. You've trained your entire life for this moment, the Olympics, a world championship. You're at the peak of your career. Then the bracket is released, and your next opponent is from Israel. Because of official government policy, you're ordered not to compete. You have to forfeit, pretend you're injured, or just not show up, throwing away everything you've ever worked for.
So for some, the only way out, the only way to chase their dream, is to make the agonizing choice to leave their home, their family, their country forever. They have to seek asylum in another nation just for the basic right to compete. It's a huge personal sacrifice, all because of a political conflict they have nothing to do with.
And this isn't just a few isolated stories. This number, over 12%, that represents millions of Iranians who have left the country since the revolution, all looking for freedom and a chance to live their lives. It's just a stark reminder of the massive human cost of these ideological battles.
So we end up right back where we started, with a big question. This forgotten history, this story of a friendship that turned into a bitter rivalry, shows us just how quickly things can change. And it forces us to ask, when governments declare these ideological wars, who is it that really pays the price? Is it the leaders making the declarations? Or is it the athletes, the artists, the engineers, and the millions of ordinary people who are just caught in the middle?